Cobb and Curio had always smelled faintly of lavender, dust, and the kind of wiring that should probably have burned the place down decades ago. Rose Cobb insisted the shop's odd scent was character, though most locals agreed it was a fire hazard with a good attitude. Rose herself was as much an antique as the shop, 83, sharp-eyed, soft-spoken, and famous in Monroe Bay for her belief that everything in her store had a personality. She just didn't know that one of them was right. It started on a wet Tuesday evening after closing. Rose turned off the neon sign, locked the front door, and begun her nightly ritual of telling the mannequins good night, purely for her own amusement, of course. She didn't notice the faint chill seeping in through the cracked ceiling vent. She didn't see it above the old cash register. She didn't see Thimble. Thimble had been drifting around Monroe Bay for the better part of 60 years, too shy to properly haunt, too nervous to commit to a full possession, too sentimental to let go of their earthly attachments. Wraiths weren't usually tender-hearted creatures, but Thimble had always been soft. He floated into Cobb and Curio with no intention of staying. He just wanted a quiet shelf to sulk on, maybe a dusty painting to whisper poetry at. And then he saw it. The Edison bulb. It hung crookedly from an old metal fixture above the register, glowing warm gold in the dimness. Its filament curled into a graceful spiral, pulsing softly with a living heartbeat of light. Thimble froze midair. He had seen humans fall in love, messy, clumsy, embarrassingly fragile, but he never understood it. Love was supposed to be irrational, inconvenient, overwhelming. Wraiths didn't do that. Wraiths were supposed to drift and hunger and mourn. But the moment Thimble saw the Edison bulb's golden hum, his soul, or whatever passed for a soul, fluttered like a moth trapped in a jar. "Oh," he whispered, voice a trembling exhale of static. "You radiant enchantment, you incandescent miracle." The bulb brightened faintly, purely because Rose jiggled the wiring earlier and accidentally improved its contact. Thimble, of course, took this as a sign. He swooned, collapsing into the rafters like a lovesick Victorian widow. He hovered there, hands clasped, utterly undone. He was in love. Hopelessly, catastrophically, wraithfully in love. Over the next few days, Rose noticed unusual things happening in the shop. For one, her register drawer kept opening on its own. Customers complained that the Edison bulb flickered aggressively whenever they stood beneath it. One tourist claimed it flickered in Morse code, but Rose told him he'd been standing too close to the refurbished Ouija board, which tended to make people dramatic. Meanwhile, Thimble was busy being the worst and most enthusiastic romantic suitor imaginable. He collected trinkets, buttons, coins, a small brass key, and laid them in a neat pile beneath the Edison bulb. Rose assumed she had mice again. Thimble rearranged the electrical flow so the bulb would glow a little brighter whenever he approached. Rose assumed her wiring was improving with age. He whispered static-laced poetry into the glass. "My filament-flamed beloved, you glow for me and me alone. Please never dim. I could not bear it." Whenever a customer lingered too long beneath the bulb, Thimble hissed at them from the ceiling vent. Rose started offering discounts to anyone who complained about aggressive ambiance. On Friday morning, the power bill arrived, and Rose nearly fainted as she stared at the outrageous number. She eyed the flickering Edison bulb. It had always run a bit hot, but lately it had grown warm enough to toast bread under. "Enough nonsense," she declared. "You're getting replaced." Thimble, curled invisibly around the rafters, felt a jolt of dread. He didn't fully understand Rose's intentions, but he heard the words. Replaced. Removed. Rose climbed a ladder and unscrewed the bulb with one gloved hand, replacing it with a brand new LED. After she left, Thimble drifted toward it, hovering only inches away. "Hello? Can you hear my longing, my devotion, my—" The LED flickered in sheer disinterest, and then it hummed at the wrong frequency. Thimble recoiled violently, and his grief ignited into misery. Then his misery turned into rage. The following day, the cash register rang on its own for Rose, printing out a receipt that read, "How could you?" The LED bulb buzzed loudly, then exploded in a shower of harmless sparks. "Bring it back!" Rose shrieked and grabbed a broom. "Bring it back!" A car alarm wailed outside. The wiring in the walls groaned. All right," she yelled into the air. "I'll put the damn light back in." She grumbled, adjusted her glasses, and found the bulb. She screwed it back in. For the rest of the night, the Edison bulb glowed beautifully. Too beautifully. Rose went to bed blissfully unaware that Thimble whispered his devotion, that the old wiring began to pulse rapidly. At 2:13 a.m., the streetlights on 4th Avenue all popped simultaneously. A transformer blew. Power died across 3 blocks, except for one place. Cobb and Curio still shone with a single golden light. If you walked past the window that night, and many insomniac locals did, you would see a small, warm glow illuminating shelves of antiques. If you're lucky, you'll see something else, hovering close to it and smiling with giddy devotion. But if you're really lucky, you'll also hear its devotion.